I might take my last name off of there. There we go.
Hello everyone, my name is Crystal and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, then hit that subscribe button because we're friends, we just haven't met yet. Hello everyone, my name is Crystal and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, then hit that subscribe button because we're friends, we just haven't met yet.
Hello, everybody. I want to thank you all for being with us tonight. It's going to be a little bit different stream. Most of you already know about Elena Hembree's case. Tonight, we're not going to be talking about what happened to her, but better, we're going to be talking about who she was. And out of everybody that I've come in contact with, our special guest tonight can tell you more about Elena than anybody that I've met. Mods, I do ask that you keep an eye out in chat. If anybody gets out of line or anything like that, please block them. I asked everybody to be respectful, respect the panel guests, respect each other, and let's hear about this child. Our special guest tonight is Carol, and she took care of Elena. I know when I heard about this case for a long time, I thought, who loved her? Who took care of her? That really bothered me. To be honest with you, there was nights that I actually didn't sleep because I was thinking about that. But then I met Carol and I found out who took care of Elena and who loved her, who showed her kindness. And I thought it'd be good if she was able to share with you all some of the things that she shared with me, and more importantly, who Elena was. Carol, would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Carol. I took care of Elena for almost a year. She was gone from my house for 3 weeks before she tragically passed away. I just want to let people know who she was. You know, she was spunky and she was fun and she had the best little personality. She was an amazing little human being.
Can tell me about the first time that you met Elena.
I had ran into her papa actually at one of the local stores here, and he was like, "Carol, I've got somebody I want you to meet." And I thought, "Oh Lord, you know, I'm not really up for this." And he was like, "No, really." He was like, "Trey had a baby," and I said, "He did." He said, "Yeah." He said, "I want you to meet her." That evening, I went up there, and he had to go and get her walker, and I watched her, and she just melted into my chest, and she just lay there and she just hugged me, and I fell from that minute. She had my heart.
And how was it that Elena came to live with you, Carol?
Okay. At first, okay. So her dad, was, coming by to just like hang out and chill and stuff because he was getting into it with like his brother and his girlfriend real bad. And he didn't want the baby around that. So he had come and stayed here for about 3 weeks. And, Elena's mother had got arrested on some charges and she had gotten out. And, she asked me if she could come by here. I told her yeah, and I mean I've had Elena from that minute.
Tell us about, you was talking about her first birthday today. Tell us some of the little things that Elena liked, and if you want to, it's completely up to you. You wrote something for the vigil. Would you
Yes,
like
I
to share
did.
that?
Sure, I'll share it. Just bear with me because it's a little bit hard,
It is.
but I would
You all
be
put some
honored to.
hearts in the chat for Carol.
I would be
You know,
honored to share about Elena. I mean, I'm willing to talk to anybody who's willing to listen about her.
yes, I mean, you've never denied talking to me about her. And I just want to say, for me personally, it has helped me so much to know the love that you gave this kid. And I
That
want to personally say thank you.
there's no thanks needed because Elena actually, I won't lie, I've got almost 2 years sober. I was a severe drug addict. I went and I checked into rehab. And when I come out, I was freshly sober. I didn't know what I was going to do or anything. And that's when I met and I fell in love with Elena. And that little girl, she completely changed my life. She really did. I'll read this. It says, "Who is Elena?" Elena was one of the happiest babies I've ever had the privilege to meet. She was perfect perfection, sweet innocence, and simply an amazing little girl. She easily became the center of attention without ever even trying. Her little personality was not like anything I have ever seen. She was sweet, but boy, oh boy, was she ever sassy. She smiled all the time, and happiness just seemed to radiate off of her in waves. You couldn't be around Elena and ever be sad, upset, or in an ill mood of any kind. If she felt you were, she was there with a big smile on her beautiful face and some of the most sweetest, genuine, loving hugs that let you know somehow, some way, everything was going to be okay. Elena knew what she liked and what she didn't. She had no problem letting you know by making you very aware. She had the sweetest temperament and the most gentle nature. Oh, Elena rarely got upset or angry. Sorry.
Oh, honey, you take your time. And if it's too hard, I completely understand that too.
No, it's fine. It's just hard. Elena was one of the happiest children. She would laugh and she would smile, and before you'd realize what you were even doing, you were doing it along with her, all the while just shaking your head at her, thinking how, what. She loved to dance and play peekaboo. When you would ask where Elena was, she would start laughing, pop her head out, scream, and then do it again. At night when she slept, she loved to be hugged and cuddled. Some of the best night's sleep I ever had were lying beside of this perfect little girl. She loved cheese puffs, but didn't really care for cheese balls. Pink and purple were some of her favorite colors. She was such a girly girl and loved to smell good. She would grab my lotion or my perfume and take off running, thinking she had gotten one over on me. When I would go after her, she would just laugh, scream, turn around, look, and be off again. She hated to have her hair fixed and would fight the whole damn time, but loved to look in the mirror and how pretty she looked when you got done. McDonald's French fries, chicken and dumplings, and spaghetti were some of her favorite foods. At the end of the day, Elena loved to take a bath and just sit and pop the bubbles. She would play with her little pink ducks, and I would sit back and just talk to her. I can still hear her looking up at me going, quack, quack, Mimi, quack, quack. Some of the best memories I have are of Elena. She loved Elmo and Baby Shark. I would get so tickled seeing her stand at my TV, her little hands clapping, her little butt moving, trying with all her might to sing along to the lyrics to the top of her lungs, just smiling like all was right in her perfect little world. She was happy with everything and content with nothing. She wasn't a picky child at all. She was easy to love, easy to take care of, and one of the most laid back, chill, easy to get along with babies you could ever be around. As I sit here telling you about Elena, my heart is filled with love and gratitude. So much gratitude. When the days get hard and sleep seems impossible, I have these thoughts for company. I can honestly say it was me who was honored to have had the privilege to have been a part of Elena's short-lived life. She gave me a new way to view the world and to see things. We don't choose children. Children have a way of choosing us. I will be forever thankful to the Lord above that Elena had chosen me. I wanted to speak tonight and let people know about her. Yes, about her. Yes, what happened to her was horrific. Yes, it was devastating. And yes, it was a sad tragedy, the ungodly things that were done to this precious innocent child. But every night before I go to sleep, I pray for justice for this sweet baby girl. I would like for her to be remembered for who she was, not the things done to her. For the things done to her were just that. They were things. They do not define her. My hope after tonight is that when you see her smiling face or you hear something negative, I pray that you will smile, knowing she was loved and she was adored and she is missed more and more each day. I hope that you have a smile in your heart instead of tears in your eyes when you think about God's most perfect tiny angel.
Beautiful, Carol. It is beautiful.
You know,
I
like
know.
I was always told you can't fake genuine, and children know genuine.
Yeah, yeah, they do. They know who cares about them and who loves them, and they know where they know where they're safe at.
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like
what
she
gets
had
me.
that with you.
That's what gets me the most. I may have gave Elena a home and stability, but Elena gave me unconditional love at a time in my life when I really was kind of lost and I didn't know what we wanted to do, going to do. And then up pops this beautiful little girl in my life and she became my whole focus.
And I don't know if you can see chat, but you have so much support in this chat right now. Donna Chambers says she's praying for you.
Thank you. I
There's
appreciate that.
Kim Holmes. I'm gonna put some on screen so you can you'll be able to see some of them.
Prayers are always welcome. Always.
Now, tell us about Elena's first birthday.
Oh Lord, that baby. On her first birthday, we went and we got her cake and we got her stuff to decorate with, and she refused that day to change out of her pajamas. She wanted to be in her pajamas all day. So she was not having it. Like, she did not want to change her clothes. She didn't care. She didn't want to. I cleaned off my kitchen table and my dining room table. I just set her straight in the middle of it with a smashed cake, and I let her go to town. She had cake all over everything. All over her, all over me, all over everybody. She was covered in cake, but some of the biggest smiles I've ever seen from her face came that day, just by her playing in a cake, like simple, innocent things like that most of us take for granted, are things that I miss right now.
We just had our first birthday for one of the kids here, and when you said that, all I could think about was her playing in her cake. And
Yes.
I mean, you're right. Those are memories that you can't never get back.
I'm thankful to God every day for the memories I do have of Elena, because, not even her mom and her dad can say that they have the memories that I have with her, and I'm thankful for that.
Oh, I completely agree, because I mean, like I said, you're the only person I've heard tell who she was.
She was spunky. She would run around corners and she would throw her hands up and she would start roaring at you like dinosaurs, and she was something else. She would try to pull herself up on my bed because my bed was pretty high, and she would try to pull herself up, and she would get so frustrated when she couldn't. She would just start just yapping and jabbering and going on. And then when I put her up there, everything was perfectly fine. She would just start jumping on the bed like it was a trampoline. Like, she was just a pleasure to be around. She would, no matter what, no matter how crappy of a day it was, when I look back at it, the days weren't crappy, because you can always find something good in even some of the worst days. And that's what I've really had to do lately, is look for gratitude in everything. Because you lose faith. You do. You get mad at God. You lose your hope.
Yeah. I mean, me and you talked earlier, and that's real easy to do. It's easy to get mad at God, but at the end of the day, we need to, acknowledge that He is our strength.
He is.
I think
He
me and
very
you
much
both
so
agree
is.
on that.
Now when I pray, I don't even ask God. I just say, God, if it's your will, let thy will be done. Because, we're not going to outrun God's will.
That's absolutely the truth.
I got Elena at a point in my life when I really needed her. And that child was just, how they say, a lot of people say, oh, my child's perfect. Children are perfect. This little girl was absolutely perfect. She was almost really too perfect to be here. Like, you could tell she was something special.
Yeah, I mean, she's grabbed at my heartstrings. I know that. This is something about just looking at her, just being able to look in her eyes in some of her pictures. You can tell that she was spunky and
feisty. She was feisty.
feisty.
She was, Lisa, she was feisty. She would come up to you and she would come up to me and she would like pinch at me or like poke at me, and then she'd turn around and she'd take off running, and you go and you try to find her, and Elena would be wanting to play hide and seek, and she would cram herself into places.
She liked to play hide and seek and try to sing Baby Shark. Ain't that what you said?
Yes, she was doing I actually had her we were watching Miss Rachel, which if you have children you've heard of Miss Rachel.
Oh, yes, Miss
And
Rachel, she
you
is a
know the baby
lifesaver.
the baby sign language. I with along with Miss Rachel, we were teaching Elena that because just because she was small didn't mean she was stupid. Just because she was small didn't mean that she didn't have human feelings and human emotions. She got headaches like we did. Her belly hurt like ours did. There were nights when she didn't sleep well. You know, she's just a smaller version of us. And if they can't communicate, you give them a different way to communicate. So me and her were working on the baby sign language. She was so intelligent. She was very, very smart.
Okay, give me just a second. I got to mute out for just a second. Okay, I apologize, you all. I just had a whole big dog open the door and come in. Uh, hey, Duchess. Um, what is one thing that you would want everybody to know about Elena?
One thing that I would want everyone to know about Elena, um, she was cuddly and she was sweet, yes, but she was so stubborn. She was so stubborn. Like she, she would get. You know how children are. They'll lay down on the floor and they'll throw their arms and they'll start screaming and pitching fits. Yeah, we never had
Yeah.
that problem with Elena. I'd look at her and she would start and I'd be like, okay, well, what are we griping about today? And let's go ahead and get it over with. She would look at me, she would just start smiling and she would lay down on the floor and she would smack her hands and I would do it. And then, like, if I do something, she would mock me and she lay there and she would scream and I would scream with her. You know, I mean, like, Elena was just amazing. She was amazing.
Um, the case, we're not going to talk about what actually happened to Elena, but how did you find out?
Okay. Well, see, okay, they had moved out from here and had been gone for a few weeks. Well, in these few weeks that they had been gone, I had been making phone calls. I had been going knocking on the door. Um, I had been trying in every way that I could to reach Elena, you know. And a lot of people forget that I'm not blood related to Elena, but Elena was mine. You know, she was wholeheartedly in the eyes of me and God. She was mine, and
Oh, I understand that.
and I got a message um, from her papa that said Elena was sick. And I messaged back and I said, "What do you mean Elena's sick?" He told me that she was taken to the hospital. She had severe injuries. I wasn't notified of her injuries at the time. I was just told that she had severe injuries, and I needed to try to find out what happened to his granddaughter. He didn't know that they hadn't been living here for 3 weeks. Apparently, he hadn't been notified. Apparently, you know, I guess she kept that to herself, and that's okay. That's fine. But you know, when somebody tells you that a child is sick, you think that they have sore throat or they got a runny nose. You know, when you say a child is hurt, is what you imagine that Elena was. She was hurt. She wasn't sick. But I found out through a text message that said that she was being airlifted out to Children's in Knoxville because she may not survive her injuries. But I didn't know what her injuries were. I didn't find that out until much, much later what had happened to her. And when I did, I won't lie, it broke me. It broke my soul. To find out in a phone call or in a text message that she was injured as bad as she was devastating.
And you and Elena had quite the connection because
Yeah, in the week
told
before it happened, I had someone come over here to my home and they told me they were like, Elena's sick. She's having seizures. And we don't know where Erica's at. I said, okay. So I go down there to where she's staying at, and I knock on the door. I go in. Baby Elena's nowhere around. This was on. They come over here on Wednesday. On Thursday, I went over there and knocked on the door. On Friday morning, I woke up and I had a really bad feeling in the pit of my stomach. Like I had headache. I don't have headaches. I don't ever get headaches, but I was getting a real bad migraine and my head was hurting. I mean, I felt queasy, and every time I would think of Elena, just a bad feeling would roll through the pit of my stomach. And finally, Trey had come over here, and I told him, I was like, look, we need to have a conversation. And I won't lie, his words to me were, well, if it's about Elena, I don't effing want to talk about it. I told him he was going to sit down, shut up, and he was going to open them ears and he was going to listen, or I was going to smack his brains out. Bottom line, like, something was going on with her. And I told him that Friday, I said, look, you need to go get her. Like, she's sick. Something's going on. Like, I got a really bad feeling. Like, this is really not good. You need to go check on her. He got mad. He got up and he left my house. And I've not talked to him since.
So that was on a Friday.
Yeah.
Elena passed away on a Sunday.
On Wednesday, my friend came over and told me that the baby was having seizures. I go over there to confront Erica on Thursday. Friday, Trey pops up over here. And then on Saturday is when Elena got took to the hospital. And Sunday was when she died.
Mm.
And yeah, I did have a connection with Elena. Whether you're blood related or not to anybody, I believe that your soulmate can be anybody, Like, your soulmate could be a dog.
Absolutely.
I mean, if it's got a soul and it's got a spirit, it can have, if it's got a beating heart, it's got a soul, And I just feel like Elena was, my little soulmate. She was my little buddy. She became my best friend. I never got judgment from her. Only thing that she ever wanted was just to offer love,
So how you said that they had been moved out a couple weeks.
Yes. They left here at the end of June. And the last time I saw Elena was on the 4th of July. And that was not a good day. I had been calling and begging for a week to see Elena. And I kept getting told no, no, no. And I was blocked and I was being ignored and all this. It was even made clear to people that knew me that Elena was not to be around me. Now I know why. Obviously because of the abuse. Because I won't lie. If I would have seen that, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now. I promise you that. I would probably be 10 foot deep underneath the jail because I probably would have done something that would have changed my whole life for the worse. Because I'm a product of domestic abuse. I'm a product of childhood abuse. I'm a product of child sexual assault. My very own child molester was my father. For 10 years, so I mean, like, that's one thing that I wouldn't have tolerated, and everyone around me knew that. So when I got her on the 4th of July, she had bruises all over her face and up her little back. And I asked Erica what had happened, and she said she fell in a sippy cup. Me and Erica got into it, and I told her not to lie to me, because if I had to, I would drive across town and I would smack the taste out of her mouth. Because that was no sippy cup that done that to that baby's face. Like, the bruises were almost too perfect, Like, they were too perfect. And I was, and I told her, if this is what's going to be going on, then I'm not going to bring Elena back. I got a phone call that said if I didn't bring Elena back, that I was going to be charged for kidnapping. And they would have arrested me for kidnapping because I am no blood relation to Elena. Even though if Elena would have wanted to go with me and I would have wanted to keep her, I couldn't have, because I was no blood relation and I had no legal rights to the child. But I did call social services. The police were informed. Nothing was ever done. But yes, I did. I done everything by the book like I should have. I wish I would have done things different now. But coulda, woulda, shouldas are what's really going to get me, so I can't do that.
Yeah, because I mean, from where I stand, from everything you've told me, you did everything that you could, Carol. Um, the what ifs, those are the things that
You
can
know, though,
literally drive you
the thing about it
crazy.
is I appreciate that, but, in a situation like this, you never okay, you never expect something like this to hit your home. You always think things like this happen to other people. Things like this are not going to happen to you. Like, they're not going to affect your life. And then, bam, all of a sudden your life is affected because it did happen to someone in your life, someone you were close to. And
Amen. That's the truth, Michelle. The system failed Elena, not Carol. Um,
we could
Out of
always
all the
do
people
more.
that did fail
But
her, you are not one of them.
when you sit there though, and you're like, well, I could have done this or I should have done that. When a situation like this hits your home, I won't lie, I was frozen. I was in shock because when she was here with Elena, she tried with her. She was a good mommy to her. She bathed her, she fed her, she played with her. That's what I don't understand, how something went so tragically wrong in 3 weeks to take the life of this precious baby.
I was going to ask you, I think me and you've talked about this. And now keep in mind, if I asked anything you're not comfortable with
No,
talking
go ahead and
about,
ask. I've said
it's
it from the
it's
very
fine.
beginning.
Just
I've said it from the very beginning. Anybody that's talked to me, my story's been the same. It's never changed. And it's never changed because I have nothing to lie about. I mean, ask whatever you want. I'm willing to answer.
in your opinion, why do you think Erica moved out?
In my opinion, do you really want the truth from me?
Yeah, if you're
Okay,
comfortable with sharing
okay, when
your
Erica
opinion on
got
it, of
okay,
course.
my husband is currently employed at a rehab. I will not say which one, but he is employed at a rehab here in Kentucky. And when Erica first got here, Erica was doing pretty good. She really was. And she had told us that she had been using. She didn't use in my house though. We offered her help. I told her I would watch Elena. We would come and see her every weekend, if she wanted to try to get some help. I think the lure of the drugs lured her back out if you just want the truth about it. Because if it's meth or if it's heroin or if it's opiates, it's marijuana, it doesn't matter. A drug is a drug, and some people, like that drug will pull you all the way down, and you have to hit that rock bottom before you'll ever climb back up. And unfortunately for her, she hit rock bottom and didn't even try. Like she didn't want to get any help. I think that the lure of the drugs is what lured her back out. She was young. She was, wanting to live life. And I understand that. But when you have a child, you don't get to say, oh, that's a part-time child and I'm a part-time mommy. Oh, absolutely not. No, you're a full-time mommy because you have a full-time child. And I don't
It's
think that she
100%
really
true.
wanted to let that lifestyle go, in honor of Elena, to raise her, to be a good mom. I think that she was just so far gone down the rabbit hole, there was no coming back for her.
Some people have speculated that maybe she was passed out on drugs when it happened.
Okay, well,
Uh,
I don't think that she was passed out on drugs. If you want my opinion, I'll tell you my opinion. Because we've talked about it. I mean, I really don't care. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but when you're a drug addict, I've got almost 2 years sober. I've done anything from coke to heroin to meth. You know, those drugs, they own your soul. The first time you do it, like, yeah, that choice is on you. But after that, I mean, if you keep doing it, like, it's going to get a hold of you, and it don't matter. You'll sell your soul to the devil. We become neglectful to our children. Like, I can admit it. Like, I was never a great mom because I was mentally and emotionally not there for my children when they were younger, and they needed that. If you're not really wanting to have that child, the drugs mean more. You're going to be neglectful. What I think happened is I think maybe that baby was taking a nap, and she popped out of the house 2 doors over or something, and that's when that baby got hurt. Because if they're asking her and she keeps saying she don't know nothing, chances are probably good she doesn't. Because if you're neglectful and you're not even in the home when it happens, you don't know what happened.
Well, that's true. So you
You
think
know,
pretty much it was she left her there to go.
I think pretty much it was just I think that Elena probably took a nap and she thought, oh, I'm just going to pop over here real quick to see Dad or to see whoever, and then I'll just pop straight back. Um, I ain't gonna lie, when you're on drugs, 3 hours passes by and it feels like 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Like you lose the track of your time and everything. So yeah, I think it was I think this is a bad case of just really, really poor, shitty decision making. That
What
or
about
just not
Trey?
even that or just not even not just that or not even caring. Okay, now listen, that's a whole nother subject that's really touchy with me, and I'll tell you why it's touchy with me. Um, my husband and we did not care at all to do for Elena. Like, absolutely not. It's just money. Anybody that knows me knows I'd rather wipe my hind end on it and flush it down the commode than to have it in my pocket, because money means nothing to me. Um, Trey was working. Yes, he was. He was working a job, and Erica would ask for diapers or like milk for Elena, and he would always be like, "Well, if you could come and do me like this sexual favor, or if you could do this for me, or come and do that, I'll give you money for Elena." So finally, I just got to a point where I told Erica, "Don't even worry about Trey. I quit asking him for money. If Elena needs it, I've got Elena." Like, I can understand you love your child, but when you're drawing $4,000 on your taxes and you're not getting that baby nothing, that tells me that you don't care too much.
I completely agree.
I mean, if
So
you can't buy your daughter,
in order to even help provide,
yep.
then he wanted something in return to even provide for his own kid.
Basically, yes. If you want my opinion, and this is how I feel about it, I feel that it's just my opinion. But most people tend to have a tendency to agree. I think Elena was pretty much just a pawn. Like if Erica didn't want her, she would ask Trey, "You want her?" Trey didn't want her. Erica didn't want. You know what I mean? Like they fought over her all the
Yeah.
time. They did. They did. They fought over her all the time. Who was going to watch her? Who was going to keep her? So finally, like I told them, just get out and get out of my face and leave the baby alone. Like if you want to go somewhere, you want to do something, tell me you're leaving and goodbye. Like she's safe here. She's good here. Like I'd rather her be with me and be at peace than to her being fought over. She's not a pawn. She was a human being. She was somebody. And she was somebody who was loved. She is somebody who was
What was
missed.
Elena's favorite cartoon? If
Oh,
you all hear a
Elena's
baby
favorite
crying in the
cartoon.
background, by the way, we got
Probably
one
Baby
that's not
Shark.
feeling good.
Probably Baby Shark, but her all-time favorite cartoon character was Elmo. She loved Elmo. Her papa started buying her Elmos when she was born, and she absolutely loved Elmo. Like Elmo was her all-time favorite. And it didn't matter if you had watched the same one 1,000 times. She still wanted you to clap and go, yay with her and watch and dance Elmo. Like she loved it.
And you all, you know me. I'm transparent as I can be. And if I'm in the wrong, I'll say I'm in the wrong.
Amen. Me
I
too.
kind of judged one of the papaws, not really knowing them, because I saw stuff on Marketplace for sale and I didn't understand it.
If
But
you're
I
talking
have talked to, is that the same papa?
if you're talking about Trey's dad, let me tell you, that man absolutely adored
Loved
and
his
still does
granddad.
adored that baby. No, like he still watches videos of her. Like he still cries over her. Like he still misses her. Like he honestly and truly loved that baby so good. And it hurts me to see him because I've known him for a long time. And it's hard because, when you see that hurt on somebody that you've known for that long and you can't take their pain away, that hurts you because you're like, what can I do? What can I do? You can't do anything. People don't want to be offered like we don't want to be placated and people be like, oh, well, things are gonna be okay. Things are gonna be okay. No, somebody told me today that time just makes it real.
Yeah, I think it might have been me.
I believe
Um,
it was. I've
I
just,
personally, though, I have to do this. I have to say that I was wrong, you all, and I am sorry to trace
if
that.
I, um, if that
I
baby was over
I
there,
judged I
if
judged
Elena
by
was
one
with
post,
them,
and I shouldn't have.
if Elena was with them and I messaged him and asked him, hey, do you care to bring Elena home? He would always bring Elena home to me, or if Elena was here and he wanted to see her, I never, never, never denied anybody the chance to see Elena. But what hurts me though, and I'm not gonna lie, and it makes me so mad. People are out here, we love Elena, we love Elena, we love Elena. Okay, well, if you love Elena, do it for Elena. Don't do it for $1. Don't do it for your name on something. Don't do it for a GoFundMe. It's not about money. Elena was somebody to me before she passed away. You know, she was my entire world for almost a year. And if you're doing it for Elena, do it for Elena. Do it out of genuine
Yes,
love and care and concern for her. Don't put your name on something if it's got $1 attached to it or something. That's not doing that for Lena. That's doing that for greed.
exactly, exactly. Um, I do want to announce this. Um, we have got a spot in the Christmas parade for Elena. It is it's to honor her. If anybody local sees this live, you're more than welcome to come. This is not a protest. This is not something where people's going to be bickering. Um, this
This
is to
is
honor this kid.
this is the holiday season. This is when your children and your family should mean the most to you. If you're out there tonight and you have your babies, hug them tighter, love them longer, because you don't know if you're going to get that tomorrow or not. If I could go back and change anything, I wouldn't. But I would ask for 5 more minutes with Elena or one more hug. Because even if I knew the pain was coming, to me, that would be worth dealing with the pain again.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we talked about that today. We go through it all over again. We would suffer the pain to have another hug, uh, to hear another giggle.
Yes.
Um, it makes you want to hold your babies closer, y'all. It really does. And
Hold them closer, love them longer. You know, I would
I
give
mean,
anything for 5 more minutes with
uh,
Elena.
I just want to let everybody know that I'm not neglecting no kid in the background. If you hear her crying, she's not feeling the best ever was, and her mom has
Oh.
her. She's trying to get her calmed down, but everything's good.
Elena,
Yeah, it is
Elena,
heartbreaking, Donna.
Elena was such a girly girl. She loved hair bows. She loved dresses. She loved to smell good. She was just your typical little girl. But she was, rough like a little tomboy. Like she would get straight in there and get dirty with you. I mean, she didn't care. Like Elena was just pretty much go with the flow type of child.
You was talking about uh, she'd bite you to get her hair fixed, but then admire how pretty she looked. And
She
I've got
would.
one here that'll do the same thing. I mean, she'll fight you tooth and nail, but once you get them ponytails in, she'll look at herself.
Though, Elena favored dresses, which I favor dresses too. And she would sit there and you'd be behind her fixing her hair and she would like just be like smacking back at you. And you'd be like, just a minute, Lena Bug, just a minute, Lena Bug. And she would turn around and she'd go, me. And then as soon as I would get done, she would go and she'd start twirling in the mirror and, just wanting to see what she looked like.
And I mean, when you describe her, I think of the kids here in this house. I think of my grandkids. I got a grandbaby her age, and I can't imagine the pain. I mean, I know grief, I know loss, that I just cannot imagine the pain.
You
For
know,
those of you that may just be coming in, this is Carol. She took care of Elena. She showed Elena love. She gave
Elena
Elena a
loved
safe
me.
place,
Elena
and they
loved
had a
me.
bond like no other. Um,
There's
Duchess, would you
sometimes
like
when
to?
there's sometimes when you have these like really, really bad days, I mean, at the end of the day, you just really want everybody to leave you alone, but at the same time, you want a hug. You know what I mean? Elena was
Yeah.
that hug. Elena was that hug, that comfort, like when she would look up at you with them big, beautiful eyes and she would just smile, like, I mean, you knew everything was going to be okay. Even if your world wasn't right in that moment, your world was right.
Okay. Can you all hear me? Because it's trying to say my connection's bad.
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. I'm sorry. It was trying to say my connection was bad. Um, you've told me so much about her. I'm trying to
Um,
think of what maybe everybody
can I share
else.
my favorite? Can I share my favorite memory with Elena?
Yes, ma'am. You can share anything you
Okay,
want to.
every morning, every morning, without fail. Like I wouldn't even close my door all the way at night because I knew what was coming in the morning. She would either crawl or she'd walk across the hall, and she would fling that door open. And you know how they'll like come back and they'll hit and they'll bounce back. Listen,
Yes.
it sounded like a shotgun going off every morning. She would come across the hall. She would do my door like that, and she would start pulling at the covers, or she would come over there and she'd start poking at me, and I'd roll over every morning without fail. And I still say it. I still tell her, "Good morning, beautiful." And I would ask her if she was ready for breakfast. She would put her chubby little arms up, grab a hold of me, and me and her would come downstairs every morning, just me and her. And I would set her up, and she would. She always wanted the same thing. It was either blueberry or chocolate chip pancakes in the morning for breakfast. And she didn't like full size pancakes, so I made them $half size, so she could hold them in her hand and dip them in her syrup. And every morning, me and her would sit and watch Elmo, and we would have breakfast together. Since Elena's passed, I've not even eat breakfast really. I that was just something we done together.
Mm, I'd say breakfast is hard. Um,
And every
she
night,
liked pancakes, didn't
loved
she?
pancakes, loved pancakes. And if they were chocolate, she would have it all over her. I mean, her hands, her face, she would be so sticky with chocolate. And she'd be sitting there just clapping her hands, just happy as she could be with a pancake. Like, that's the thing that gets me is Elena didn't expect anything, but Elena was appreciative of everything. You could tell she was.
Yes.
You know how
Yes. And
you can tell children that are just, like I said, she was content with everything and happy with nothing. I mean, she was, as long as she had someone playing with her. Elena's world was great. And children don't ask us for anything. They don't ask to be born. They don't ask for who their mothers are. But if you don't help that child grow, and you don't nurture that child, and you don't love that child, God will pluck that child from your garden. He'll pluck that flower and he'll take it because these children aren't ours. They're God's. God gives them to us just for a certain amount of time for us to raise them and try to teach them right. And if we don't do that, God's going to take them.
um, yeah, I believe that. I believe that he can, and I can't express to you how grateful I am that Elena had you.
I can't
And
express
I
how
mean,
grateful I am because it was me. I'm honored and I'm privileged because I didn't choose Elena. Elena chose me, and I'll be thankful for that. I'll be thankful to God for that for the rest of my days. I mean, I still tell God, you know, thank Him for a year with her. That's what I had with her, a year. And I wouldn't trade that year for anything in the world. I got her when I needed her, and she got me when she needed me. So it worked out. I'm honored to have
hey,
I'm honored to have
It,
been her safe haven.
uh, you all, Carol says that she will answer any question that you have. We just do not want to talk about the event that happened.
Yeah,
Um,
I prefer
in
not to
no
talk about the
way
things
would
that
I
happened
ever
to her. You know,
to her. And I
Elena was somebody.
understand that 100%, honey. I understand that 100%. One thing I will guarantee you, I will not disrespect that child. Um,
Yeah,
this is for her.
she loved to go on car rides. She loved to ride in my husband's truck because it's set up high and she could see out the windows. She absolutely loved it. She loved to go to the park and play. You know, she was just everywhere I go though. Like dragonflies remind me of Elena. I was telling you about it. Everywhere I go here lately, like if I ask God for a sign, you know, to let me know that Elena's here, it always comes in the form of a dragonfly. Like I don't, I was making, I was going to build Elena next spring a garden, here at my house, and I found some, fan blades. I was stealing fan blades, and I found a bed leg, and I got to looking about what I could make it with it. So I made her a big blue and black dragonfly, and I guess she must have loved it because there's a little black and blue dragonfly that follows me around. It does not matter if it's cold outside, hot outside. Here comes that little dragonfly. I was pulling a pallet apart, and I got down to the last two pieces of wood, and I looked, and I just fell and started crying because it looked like a dragonfly. I was cleaning out my basement and found an old bucket, and you know, I mean, I was just talking. I talked to her all the time, you know, and I found that bucket and I flipped it over, and there was a dragonfly on it. You know, like she gives me little signs that she's here with me. I mean, I know people might think that sounds crazy, but she'd probably come back to the place she was most loved, and I hope she is here with me because God knows I miss her.
Yeah, I think God can let you feel her presence. I know there's times that I can feel the boys and it brings me peace. Um, Duchess, would you like to come up? You or Arctic, or anybody, if you want to express um, gratitude to Carol, because I mean, we've been covering this case, and like I said earlier, until I heard Carol, it really kept me up at night. It really did. Like who loved her? Well, Carol loved her.
I loved that
And like I,
child beyond measure.
and I mean, and you all know on my channel, like I said, um, the grandpa, um, Trey's dad.
Loved her.
I made a
Listen, I'll
comment,
tell you what, I've
and
known
I
that
was
man for a
wrong.
long time. And you know, people are gonna say bad about anybody and everybody, you know, and it's human nature just to automatically assume or go ahead and make a decision based upon something we hear or something we see. You know, sometimes it takes a couple more opinions, you know, to change the mind. But I'm gonna tell you right now, that man adores that baby. Still to this day, he adores her. He visits her grave, I think, weekly. You know, so she was loved.
When I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong, and I was wrong. Um, I only had a little to go on, and I probably shouldn't have said anything, to start with. But um, I do apologize. Um, when I say or something that isn't right, I mean, you can guarantee if I say it like on my channel, I'm going to correct it on my channel because that's just how
It's
I
just
am.
I'll tell you how much he loves her. Me and him can't even be around each other. Because when we are now, all we do is cry because you know we can feel the other's pain. You know, we know how the other feels, and you know we don't want to keep each other upset. You know, and at the same time we're friends. Like we'll text message and things like that. But every time I see him, you know, I mean, I think of her, and every time he sees me, he thinks of her because we both did love her. You know, he was her biological grandpa, and I'm just somebody who really just opened my home to a young girl and her baby. You know, I won't lie. I didn't want to get attached to anybody's children. I didn't want to get attached to Elena. But I'm telling you what, the first time I held her and she just melted into me, I was gone. I was a goner. Like, she knew she had me hook, line, and sinker. She had everybody that way. She had just the sweetest temperament. She could wrap you around her finger and not even try. And like, I tell people right now, I know she's up there at the right hand of God, and she's probably got God wrapped around that chubby little finger. I can tell you right now she does, because that child was something else. I'm telling you, when I think about her now, I'm still grieving. Yeah, I'm still hurting. But when I think about her and I talk about her now, it still hurts and the pain still comes out. But I have a good memory behind everything, and I'm thankful I do. I've come to discover that, somebody told me that grief once, that we don't ever really get over grief, because grief is the love that we never get to show them ever again, and I feel that I believe that's true, because, I can't give her another hug. I can't give her another bath. I can't brush her hair anymore. I don't get to do those things anymore.
Just a second. I got a kid walked in the room. I have to mute out. I'm sorry, but carry on, Carol. Give me just a minute.
I wish everyone could have knew Elena the way that I know Elena. If I could have one wish for everybody, that's what it would be, that they would know her the way that I know her.
I'm grateful that she has you. I mean, and it don't take blood
I'm
to
grateful
love
that I had
somebody.
her.
I mean, I've got children in this house that may not be blood, but I mean, if they
Honey,
were, I
they're
couldn't love
yours.
them no
They are
more.
yours regardless.
Yeah.
I've had people
Yes, they
ask
are
me.
mine.
I've had people ask me before, and it really irritates me and it bothers me. How could you get attached to a child that's not yours, that you're not blood related to? Let me tell you something. If you could have spent 5 minutes with Elena, let me tell you something, you would understand exactly what I'm talking about. She was just awesome,
Well, I have people have heard people say, because I'm a foster parent. Oh, bless her heart. I couldn't do that because I would get too attached. And my opinion to that is if you wouldn't get attached,
you're not
you
human.
don't need to do it.
Right. If you don't get attached to a child, if you cannot show empathy, sympathy, or compassion for a child, then, children are the most innocent. They say that God created perfection one time and one time only. I think that's a lie. I think every time a baby's born, babies are perfection. They don't know evil. They don't ask for anything. They don't expect any, like they're just here, like
Yes.
they are gifts that we are given, and sometimes our gifts are taken away,
I've always thought of it like this. When we're put on this earth, we're put on here with a job to do.
Yes, we are.
And right, when sometimes people complete their jobs before others.
Right.
And, when we've done our job, then it'll be our time to go. She's a quick worker. That's what I tell people when I talk about my boys is, well, they got their job done before me. The one thing I can say is that Elena has touched the heart of a lot of people. There's a lot of people that never knew her that, that their heart melts for her. Hopefully.
How could it not?
Exactly. And, I keep coming back to this when we hear these cases like this. the root of it is getting knowledge out there about child abuse,
Yes,
domestic violence.
educating, letting even children in these schools know what to look for. That way a child can save another child just by telling something.
Yes, and I mean, people. A lot of child abuse cases, it stems from domestic violence,
Mm-hmm.
uh, drugs,
See,
um, and
my father was an alcoholic, and my mother had mental illness. So, and back in that day, I'm almost 40 years old. Back in the day, like things weren't talked about out of turn out of your home. Like, but that was then, and this is now. There is still no more, awareness brought to this than there was 30 years ago. And that's shameful because these children are our future. They are what we have. They're all we have.
yes, ma'am. And the sad fact about it is a Class C felony in the state of Kentucky is 5 years. Think about that real hard, people. 5 years. And then they can get right back out on the street
And do
and
you
free to
know
do
that
whatever.
the majority of child molesters, they will reoffend within 2 years of getting out of jail. I mean, that's a statistic that's been proven. Just like only 2% of drug addicts ever make it into recovery and continue to keep recovery. Like the statistics are really what gets me. Like something needs to be done. Like something really needs to be done.
Yeah, laws need to be changed.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
needs to be it needs to be tough. It needs to be tougher punishment for child abusers because
How could you go out here and take advantage of a child like that, go to jail, spend 5 years, get back out and do it again? Like to me, that's soulless. That's nothing of God because God's all love and good. That has to definitely be of the
amen.
devil.
Yeah, that's pure Satan. Uh, Michelle has dropped a petition, everybody, in the chat. Uh, this petition is what it is for is like, say a kid goes into, because believe it or not, you do deal with this. Say a kid goes into foster care and that parent has got a near fatality or fatality. They have been convicted and found guilty of that charge. They do their time. Well, the way it is right now, when they get out, they can get their children back.
They don't
They can
deserve
work a
their
plan and
children
get their
back.
kids back.
They don't deserve
That
their children back.
petition,
They didn't appreciate them to begin with.
exactly, and that petition is to prevent this from happening. If they have a near fatality or a fatality on their record with child abuse, they cannot have custody of their kids.
I will happily sign
Um,
that. I will happily sign that.
I mean, I don't think that they should have a chance to harm another kid.
No, because if
Um,
they've harmed one, then you know that they're going to harm another. Like that's just a given. I was one of these
and if
children. I
we're
wish somebody would have stepped in and helped, but nobody did. And I don't consider myself a helpless victim. I'm an empowered survivor today. But we also have the ones like Elena who don't survive it. That need a voice.
yes, and I mean, we need to get more education out there about child abuse. To if you see something, say something, and
Absolutely.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about swamping child services with hearsay or revenge because you and another parent have heard. That is ridiculous. But if you see something, say
Say
something.
something. Yes.
You could be the
That's
very
why.
one to save a child.
That's why I'm thankful for people like you who do foster. Like we talked about that earlier. Like there are plenty of children over here who need help, who need families, and these children over here, I feel like need to be taken care of first. This is where they live. Like that's why I'm thankful for people like you. Honestly, you give them babies probably a chance they wouldn't have had.
they give me so much joy.
Like that.
I
That's what I
provide
always
them
say.
with a
Like,
safe home, a roof over their head, food in their
yes,
belly, love. But I cannot begin to tell you how much they give me. Um, it's so rewarding.
it is. Like with
And then to think, that there is kids that are living in conditions they shouldn't, it breaks my heart. When it comes to kids, that is my soft spot.
mine too. Mine too.
I mean, that's that's where I want to make change at. I mean, I got some goals with my channel. Number one, I want to lead people to the Lord because that's their eternity. Um, I want to strengthen the laws on child abuse, make them
Yes,
harsher.
yes,
Um,
ma'am.
and I want to bring awareness and help these families find their loved ones that are lost, or help get justice for the ones that don't have justice. And I got a strong reason for that. Most everybody knows my uncle was murdered in 1987 and justice was never got on his case. My daddy went to his grave wanting justice for his
I
brother
can
and never
I
got
can guarantee
that.
you I can guarantee you he might not have seen justice what time he was here, but I can guarantee you God punished the person who done it and made them suffer, Like
And
vengeance is mine, saith the
I
Lord.
find comfort in that.
Right.
But I know that's my drive. Um, when I
I
think
can
of,
I can
his
understand
case
that.
and Elena's case, Jennifer Bailey's case, Summer Wells's case, uh, Greta Henson's case. I mean, the list goes on and on. But now, one thing I do want to say is that when I look at a lot of these cases around here, a lot of them you can look on my channel and find uh, they turned into cold cases, and I don't want that to happen with Elena's case. I want to keep her name out there. Um, but not just what happened to her. I want people to know that's the reason we're doing this live tonight. I want people to know what she was like. And I didn't know Elena, so I can't tell people. But Carol, you have done an awesome job filling
I'm
people
just
in on who she
I'm just
was.
sitting here. I'm just sitting here telling facts. A fact is a fact. A fact don't change. It's gonna stay the same all day, every day, and all day, every day. She was just awesome. She was lovable, and she was sweet, and she was cuddly, and there were days she didn't feel good, and she, wanted to have her hair all a mess and run in her pajamas. I mean, she was just your typical little girl. Typical little hyper, my little Lena bug.
I can picture her in my mind when you describe her, because I mean, let's face it, we live in the country, people. We are country as cornbread. These
Yes, we
kids
are.
are the kids that can play in mud and put makeup on their face. My daughter was like that. She'll go deer hunting in a full face of makeup now. But
Now
she's
Elena loved. Now listen, she loved to play outside, but she would not do it with shoes on. No, she wanted to be barefoot. She liked to feel the grass between her toes and underneath her feet. So
yeah,
I mean, who am I to deny her that? That was something that made her happy.
that's exactly right. I
When
don't
you
know if
give to
you're
a child,
seeing.
when you give to a child, you're putting something into them, but you don't realize you're getting tenfold back, because no matter what you do for that child, even if it's just a hug, you know what? That hug lets you know that they're appreciative, that they know you love them. You know.
Yes, yes. Is there anything else that you want everybody to know about Elena?
I just wish everybody would have had the chance to know Elena the way that I knew Elena. The little girl who liked to hide under the covers, and when I would go get in the bed, she'd jump out and start roaring and try to scare me. Like I miss that, you know,
Her
and I still
sweet
tell her every night.
innocence.
I still tell her every night, "Good night, gorgeous," you know?
My heart goes out to you, Carol. It really does. And at the same time, I'm so grateful that she had you.
I'm
Um,
grateful that I had her because I'm telling you, that little girl, like you said, you get so much more back. They'll help you in ways that you didn't
um,
even know that you needed help, or they'll heal you in ways you didn't know you needed healing, you know?
yes, I mean, the Bible even says, "Come as a child."
Yes.
Um, and that's because they forgive, they're innocent.
So,
I
yeah,
mean,
they don't know of evil, they don't know of harm, you know? They all they know is that they're here and that they love you, you know?
yeah, yes, that's absolutely the truth. Um, I made this for Elena.
You know, I've had
I don't
some
know if you can
really
see the screen.
I want to say thank you to the people that have reached out to me. I had a woman send me, she asked me Elena's favorite colors. She sent me a hand crocheted angel. And it looks like Elena. I've had them send me plaques. You know, I've had them tell me they're praying for me. You know what I mean? And I appreciate that so much because a prayer can go further than anything else.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, and it can get you through times that you didn't think you could make it through.
Yes,
Um,
that's real.
like I was telling you today, whoever said time heals all wounds never lost a kid. It makes it real. Um, things don't ever get back to normal. You create a new normal.
You do,
Uh,
especially in my case with Elena, because you know, she called me Mimi, but there were days I was mommy, daddy, and Mimi. You know, like I won't lie,
absolutely.
I feel like I lost a child, but that's just because how close I was with her. You know,
Um, has Erica tried to reach out or anything since she's been locked
um,
up?
I've got a couple of people telling me that she wants to talk to me, and things like that. But I won't lie and I'll tell you the truth. Like, I don't know if I could speak to her right now. You know, people are dogging her and people are giving her down the road. People are also forgetting too, though, she lost a child. You know, even if it was from her own neglect or you know, her own bad decision making, she still lost a child. You know, and I know that she loved that little girl. And like I know that Trey loved her, but I don't think that they loved her enough to sacrifice their lifestyles and put down, you know, put down that gauntlet and, you know, pick up a new life for Elena. And she was worth so much more than what she was given.
And I commend you for being able to say that. I really do, because I can tell that you're hurting, but you still recognize that. Um, don't get me wrong, they let her down.
Absolutely,
You
absolutely, you
failed
know,
her.
but they still did lose a child, you know.
Um, what does justice for Elena look like to you, Carol?
Really, do you want the truth? It's not that I disagree with the death penalty. I just want to tell you that right now. I know that everybody that you know that they're all going to be charged with the death penalty. I don't want their lives to be taken. You know, I don't believe in the life for a life or an eye for an eye. You know, I really don't. What I want is I want for them to have to sit there every day for the rest of their lives until God decides to show mercy and take them away. I think that they need to sit there and think about her every day. I think that her face should be the first thing that they see every morning and the last thing they see every night because I know it is for me.
Yeah,
You know, I think they should have to sit with their thoughts and their coulda, woulda, shouldas and everything that they done wrong because, you know, the person who's hurting the most tried the most, you know, and
yeah.
And it really bothers me to think that they could, possibly just get the death penalty and it just be over. No, they need to sit and they need to think about it. They need to see her face every morning and every night when they open and close their eyes. They need to see what I see.
And currently, the only person that has been charged
Is Erica, yes.
in this case is Erica.
Yes.
I personally think there's other charges that ought to be handed out. That's my
Yes. I think that there should be charges.
opinion.
I think there should be charges handed out too. Yes, I do. Absolutely.
I mean, and you all keep her name out there.
Yes,
Tell her
please
story.
do. Yes, tell her story. Share it. Have everybody else share it. This little girl didn't deserve anything that happened to her. And she needs justice for that. Like, I can feel that she's not at rest, and she won't be at rest until everybody until everybody gets arrested, because she's not going to be at peace with these people walking the streets out here and stuff around other children.
And other people ought to not be at peace as long as they're out there on the street as well.
No, because their
what
child isn't
happens
safe
if they
either.
come across your kid?
If it happened to a
You know,
17-month-old baby, it can happen to anybody.
And I mean, it's not like one of them, and I'm not mentioning names on this channel, wasn't charged and then it was dropped.
Yep.
For SA before.
He's got quite a few of those charges.
Yeah.
But he's still walking the street, and it's.
And
I'm
the
nobody's
place that
judge.
this happened. The place that this happened, people, please understand this, is in Middlesboro, Kentucky. And
We
it
are a
borders.
podunk country backwoods place. There's no opportunities here. There's no job opportunities. There's nothing here really. So what do you have to do other than like sit around, get high, and just do stupid stuff? You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing to do
Plenty
here.
opportunity to get in
There's
trouble
no
if that's the
opportunity for
person you
advancement or
choose to
anything.
be. But even scarier is the fact that it borders Tennessee and Virginia. And I've said this before, I'll say it again, there is one spot that you can stand in all 3 states at once.
Yes, you
There's a
can.
video that I put on my channel. It shows how quickly you can enter Middlesboro and then go to 2 other states. So to me personally, I think that's kind of scary, knowing that that nobody's been charged with this.
It's scary too
Giving
because
them time gives them time to run.
right, and it's scary too because in places like this, I won't lie, okay, child abuse is kind of pretty much swept under the rug and ignored. Like out of sight, out of mind, kind of. You know what I mean? And that's not that should never be allowed. Like out of sight, out of mind. I mean that's ridiculous.
And to me, if anybody was going to report anything, they ought to report a child being harmed.
Well, in these places like this too, though, you have to understand, like in these backwoods places like this, they get so many abuse reports and things like that I think they probably just pretty much make a decision. Oh, check this one, don't check this one, check this one, don't check that one. You know what I mean? Because they are so far stretched out, and that resources are limited and low because we are a low income poverty state. It's just like it's kind of like it's kind of like we're stuck out here and nobody gives a damn.
This would be my advice. If you see a child being abused, and when I say see, I mean if you see a child is being abused, call the law. Call the law, let them call social services, because social services makes an appointment. the law
Listen,
comes
and
out.
if you call and you get their automated system and you leave a message and they don't answer you back, keep calling, keep calling. This could possibly save the life of a child. Like there's nothing greater you can do than to try to help a child.
Exactly. And I mean, one thing that worries me the most when we look at these cases is people get desensitized to
Yes.
them. But when it happens so close to home, you kind of look at it a little different. I'm sure Duchess and the cat would agree with me that Tyler Doyle's case hit home for her. It was close to her. That's kind of how Elena's case affected me. I mean, so don't think it can't happen in your neighborhood. Don't think it can't happen in your town.
Listen,
It can. And
that
it's
was me.
people being quiet that allows it to happen.
There are people that see things every day that should report it, and you know what they do? They turn their cheek and turn a blind eye to it because they think, "Oh, that's none of my business. That's none of my business." It is your business when it comes to a child being abused because you are an adult.
Yes. Yes.
You are
Uh,
responsible for reporting that to possibly save that child. Because if something happened to a child like that, I wouldn't want to live with that on my conscience. I already live with enough
no.
coulda, woulda, shouldas. Like I couldn't live with that.
Well, Carol, I want to thank you for coming on here and letting us know who Elena was and
Thank
telling
you,
her
honestly.
story.
Thank you for letting me share about her.
You
I
are
would
welcome to come on my channel anytime you desire. You just message me and let me know. Um, I'm not going to quit talking about Elena. I'm asking the other creators in my chat share her story. Duchess has been sharing Elena's story as well. I appreciate you, Duchess. Everything that you do a
I
lot for the
appreciate
missing and
everybody.
misjustice.
I appreciate everybody who still wakes up with her on their minds, because if one person wakes up with her on her mind and they're thinking about her, she'll never be forgotten.
Exactly, exactly. But there is people out there that should be charged with this.
Yes,
Um,
there
the
absolutely
last
are.
the last update that we got, they are waiting on DNA, and they that it could take that it normally takes about a year to get that back. Um,
Well, because of our prosecuting
that's a
attorney
long
and our
time.
court system, we're further behind than any other state too, because we have so many cases submitted every year for DNA, and they get
Yes,
backlogged, and taking up to a year or two for DNA. I feel it could probably be a lot quicker than that if they really wanted to push it. I think they
yeah,
need to
or
invite some help. I think the KSP, the Kentucky Bureau of Investigation, somebody needs to be in here investigating this to get justice for this baby because obviously the Middlesboro Police Department ain't doing shit.
exactly. I think KSP should have took this case over by now, um,
Yeah. They can't come in and take over
because
unless they're asked for help, and our police officers are not going to ask them for help.
and sadly, in this case, it is solely dependent on DNA because
Yes,
you
it
don't
is.
got people talking. You don't got people speaking
Well,
up.
here's it like, okay,
Um,
the way I look at it is if people aren't talking and nothing's being done, then obviously this was done on the low. Like it was done, like when there wasn't nobody around, that way nobody could talk. So somebody out there knows something though. Somebody's had to see something, hear something. It don't matter. Even if you've heard something, go tell it. Go tell it, like go tell it.
yeah,
It's
I
not,
mean,
and don't let
and
anybody say I don't think anybody should say, "Oh, they're a rat, they're a rat, they're a rat." No, because this is the innocent life of a child, and she needs justice.
exactly. I mean,
She's restless. Her soul is not at peace, and I can feel that. How could she be?
justice needs to be served for this baby.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
and another thing is the state of Kentucky, and Duchess knows I sent it to her. Uh, the prosecution is allowed to submit 5 articles of forensic DNA, and the defense is allowed to submit 5. And from what I've read in some articles, there could be more than 5 being tested. So that's something that needs to change. It needs to change. I think Carol lost signal. I think if you got 100 pieces of DNA, all 100 should be able to be submitted. My personal opinion. But we definitely need stronger laws to protect these children. Harming a kid it should be untolerated. 5 years. I'm just going to be blunt with you. 5 years, people get more time for growing grass to censor it for YouTube. That's ridiculous. But that's what a Class C felony for child abuse is in the state of Kentucky. 5 year. That's ridiculous. That's not learning nobody their lesson. But I do want to thank Carol for coming and letting us know about Elena, telling us who Elena was. I really appreciate her. Like I said, it helped me to know that she was taken care of, that she had that person in her life that showed her love. And I appreciate Carol. If you all don't care, put some hearts in the chat for Carol. Keep her in your prayers. You can really tell she loved Elena and she's hurting. It takes 0 effort to be a good human being. Hold your kids a little closer. Love them a little tighter. Cases like this breaks your heart, but they need to be spoke about. So let's keep her name out there. Continue to tell her story. But when you're telling her story, tell who she was, not just what happened to her. Until next time, you all, I'll see you later. Remember, it takes 0 effort to be a good human being.